So this is Tracy again. My Facebook page, Tracy Skellinger Moore, is a public site as of now. So you can go on my page and you can look all the information up that I have on there. I have a lot of other stuff too, but you can search for the Julie Knight for Judge stuff. Julie Knight being, this is what her campaign signs pretty much look like. Well, just the top part there. Julie Miramon Knight, Judge Division F. Julie Miramon Knight is a liar, and she's a criminal. Why would I say that? Well, because she committed a crime and she did no time. She had no punishment for it. So that's where we're going to start this, because if you or I or anyone else that we know, we meaning the average people out here, had falsified a police report, we would go to jail. And we'd have to pay money to get a lawyer to get us out of jail and just pay a bunch of fines to St. Tammany, St. Slamany. But she didn't have to do that. So I fired off some Facebook posts about her, and I went on her page, on both her personal page and her judge page, and I asked her to explain to me what was going on here, and she blocked me, and she deleted my comment, and then she blocked me from both of her pages. So this is what she wrote in response to me asking her that question, and I do have this posted totally on my page. There's a lot of disinformation being spread on social media. Yes, more than 4 years ago, I was sued by a career criminal. The lawsuit got news coverage, and some folks are now posting old links. What those stories do not tell is that I was dismissed from the lawsuit with prejudice, meaning it cannot be brought again, because I hadn't done anything to justify legal action. I hadn't done anything to justify legal action. Point number one, keep that in mind. I didn't file charges. I didn't prosecute him. I had no part in the alleged wrongdoing. No part in the alleged wrongdoing. Point number two. I hope that clears up the intentional deceptions. Deceptions, number three, that are being brought forth. And that you will share this truth if you hear these things being spread. Right, I hope you share my truth, okay? Not hers. If you need it, I have all of the documents to prove what I have said, along with the plaintiff's extensive criminal history. Now I have a campaign to run so I can continue serving the people of Washington, St. Tammany Parish. You're a liar, Julie. You're a liar. Everything about that was a lie. Let's focus on the point of she didn't do anything to justify legal action. Well, that's real funny, because this, folks, here is public record. This is from a government site. Yes, there is her name right there, highlighted, Julie Knight. And I will, here's the second page of that, and I will read that to you. In this litigation, plaintiff Douglas Dindinger alleges that his constitutional rights were violated when he was falsely arrested, imprisoned, and prosecuted. Pending before the court is moving defendant Sheriff Randy Country Seal, Chief Deputy Michael Haley, and Deputy S. Barry Galloway, collectively moving defendants. Motion for summary judgment pursuant to rule blah blah blah. Having reviewed the motion, the memoranda in support, the memorandum in opposition, the record, and the applicable law, the court will grant the motion. In his complaint, this is factual background. Let's look at that. A factual background. This is court paper, federal court paper. Factual background. In his complaint, Dindinger alleges that on August 20th, 2012, he delivered a summons and complaint to defendant Chad Cassard, a former active duty police officer with the Bogalusa Police Department, on behalf of Logan Mills in a suit against Cassard and other members of the Bogalusa Police Department for excessive force. Dindinger alleges that at the conclusion of Mills's criminal trial, the conclusion of the criminal trial of the Washington Parish Courthouse for armed robbery, he served Cassard outside the courthouse in the presence of Pamela Jean Legendre, Assistant District Attorneys Julie Knight and Leanne Wall. There we go again. Julie Knight. Again, federal court papers. Julie Knight. Police Chief Joe Culpepper, Captain Kendall Bullen, and Scott Seals, who is still an officer. Dindinger alleges that his counsel received a phone call later that day from Legendre, who was a staff attorney for Judge Han, the judge who presided over Mills' criminal trial, and Legendre allegedly accused Dindinger of committing an assault on a police officer and intimidation of a witness while attempting to serve Cassard. Dindinger alleges that later that day, he was arrested at his home by Washington Parish Deputy Galloway. According to Dindinger, he was then taken to Washington Parish Jail, where he was verbally harassed by Culpepper, Wall, and Knight. Dindinger claims he was detained for roughly 3 hours before posting bond and being released. Dindinger further alleges that prior to his arrest, Wall, Legendre, Knight, Culpepper, Bullen, and Seals all provided false witness statements. Remember, this is court documents, okay? Last page here that I'm going to read on that court document at govinfo.gov. Dindinger alleges that Wall and Knight contacted District Attorney Walter Reed, who authorized Dindinger's arrest, and contacted Washington Parish Sheriff Seal, who also authorized Dindinger's arrest. He claims that Wall improperly attempted to serve Dindinger's bondsman rather than Dindinger himself, and then misrepresented the facts regarding her non-service during Dindinger's arraignment, leading to a no bond attachment order being issued for the arrest. Mr. Dindinger filed the complaint. Let me just get to this now. That was that court stuff. So now, those charges were dismissed against Mr. Dindinger. They were dismissed because they were hogwash, to say it lightly. Now I'm going to read you this article that comes afterwards, this being from NOLA.com, and this was on the news. It made international news. I also have a letter from I want to say it's a congresswoman. She was from Ireland. She emailed from Ireland. So this made it national. Okay, you can look it up. NOLA.com. It looked like a legal mismatch. 5 police officers and 3 attorneys claim that Doug Dindinger committed battery while he served notice of a lawsuit against one of the cops back in 2012. Dindinger, who was also charged with witness intimidation, obstruction of justice, could have spent decades in prison if convicted because of his criminal record. Had they had their way, I'd be in prison for the rest of my life. Now the tables have been turned. Dindinger is no longer a defendant. The criminal charges against him were dropped by the state attorney general's office. And 2 of the lawyers who accused him, ex-prosecutors Leanne Wall and Julie Knight, along with their former boss, then 22nd Judicial District Attorney Walter Reed, are defendants in a federal lawsuit filed by Dindinger. Earlier this month, U.S. District Court Judge Ginger Berrigan denied motions to dismiss the 3 from the suit. I am determined, because this has never been about anything else but holding them accountable, Dindinger said. I don't want them in a position to do this to anybody else. Shortly after Dindinger's arrest, the witnesses gave similar statements about what happened, portraying an unwanted use of physical force on the steps of the Washington Parish Courthouse. Now, this is where it gets really juicy. Remember, Julie Knight claims in her own words, let's go back to this, she had no part in the wrongdoing. And she wrote a witness statement, aka a police report. She filed a police report to what she observed. She's seen it with her own 2 eyes. She observed something happen. And this is what she said she observed. Knight said Dindinger hit the officer in the chest. In her statement to deputies contained in a police report, Knight said we could hear the slap as he hit Cassard's chest with an envelope of papers. This was done in a manner to intimidate and threaten everyone involved. The ex-Bogalusa police officer who was served, Chad Cassard, told deputies that Dindinger slapped me in the chest. It was a one-sided testimony on paper, but Dindinger had one powerful proof of evidence in his favor. Dindinger had asked his wife to videotape the envelope handoff with her cell phone. He said he merely wanted to prove he completed the task so he could collect his $50 fee. $50. $50, folks. He went to jail and faced multiple life sentences over $50. He just needed to make a few dollars. She put him in jail. She lied. She put him in jail. That's against the law. There's a charge for that. Here we go, right here. This is still at NOLA.com. This is the official NOLA.com newspaper article. The grainy snippet shows what Dindinger claimed all along, that he merely handed Cassard an envelope, never touching him. Because the Knight and Wall were prosecutors for Reed at the time, Dindinger's attorneys forced Reed's office to be recused from prosecuting the case. As soon as the case was taken over by the Attorney General's office, the charges were promptly dismissed. But the dismissal was not enough for Dindinger. He filed a civil rights lawsuit against the officers and attorneys, including Reed. Right, it was dismissed. It was dismissed because they all worked for Walter. They all worked for Walter Reed. How are they going to prosecute themselves? They're not going to prosecute themselves. Wake up, people, because you need to get with the program here. This Saint Tammany crap has gone on way too long. I have this in proof, written in paper, okay? They lied. They lied. And Mr. Dindinger won that lawsuit. Why did he win? You win a lawsuit because you're right and the other party is wrong, or they lied. Why would you do that, Julie? I'm asking you again. And now, evidently, I'm going to ask you on a very nice public website, because these people offered to put me on here. So answer my question, Julie. How is it that you are running for judge in St. Tammany Parish when you never paid the piper for what you did to an innocent man? Then you post this on your Facebook? Yeah, I decorated this up really, really well, okay? This is also on my page. See, she blocked me and deleted me, but I have a lot of friends too, Julie. I have a lot of friends too. And my friends aren't in the same places that yours are. We don't sit around at the courthouse drinking fancy wine and eating filet mignon, okay? Because my people, we don't have the money to pay other people to get out of trouble. My people, if we lie for each other, we all go to jail. None of you went to jail. You should have all been arrested. You should have all been tried in court. You should have all paid the price for what you did. But because all of you worked under the same courthouse roof, no one was made to pay responsibility for what happened to that man. And did you even care what you did to him? Of course you didn't. Just like you posted the pictures with your grandchild, but your grandchild's first birthday. Now you had to get back here to start your campaign. Do you wonder what Mr. Dindinger was going through with his grandchild's first birthday? He wondered if he'd ever see the child again, ever. Because of you, we're going to make it sure that he went to prison for a lie that you told. Your husband works for the sheriff's department, I do believe. Gee, what else do we need to know about you? Oh, let's see, I'll tell you. This paper right here. As a prosecutor in both New Orleans and the North Shore, Julie Knight has tried hundreds of cases. A prosecutor, why don't you tell the people in St. Tammany and Washington Parish why you are no longer a prosecutor, Julie? Why don't we get that out there? Because you see, the truth is, people, she was fired. Well, she can say that she wasn't fired and she resigned, but let me tell you, she was forced to resign. She was given an option, resign or get fired. So she resigned. She had a forced resignation. That is why she is no longer an assistant district attorney. You know what? I know I'm going to catch a lot of slack from people for this. I don't care. I I don't care anymore. This stuff in St. Tammany has gone on way too long and way too far. I help people here. I help people. I help people get to drug court because God knows there's way too many of them on there. These people smoke a joint and they go to jail for God knows how long and pay God knows how many fines. This woman who is running for judge in this parish, she walked away from this with nothing. Nothing was done to her or anyone else. I know that there has to be people out there that she's done this to before. He can't be the only one. This was too slick and too smooth. And there's a couple other people out there in St. Tammany. One of them sitting behind bars right now. I know there's people out there that know what he did, but you just won't open your mouth. Well, it's time for people to open their mouth. We have to live here. We pay taxes here. You own a home here. For Christ's sake, some people own a business here. And I am not just a hater. I'm not a fly-by-night hater, okay? So let me make that very clear. I own 5 pieces of property in St. Tammany Parish. The home I live in, several rental properties, and I own a business here and the land that it sits on. I'm a tax-paying citizen and I dump an awful lot of tax money in this parish. I'm sick of it. People need to share this and people need to know what's going on. Do not elect Julie Knight for judge. Julie, I'm waiting for you to give me an answer. You can find me at Tallahassee Grocery 7 days a week. 985-373-6891. That's my cell phone number. Give me a call and we'll discuss this. Thanks.